Welcome to Intentionality with Dominique, the show that helps business owners become valued and in-demand suppliers in the marketplace to scale their businesses. Let's start today's show with host and intentional connector, Dominique Simpson-Milton.
Welcome to another episode of Intentionality, the show dedicated to increasing the success rate of entrepreneurs and their businesses by sharing the strategies and tactics of successful suppliers. I am your host, Dominique Simpson-Milton. Today's show is being brought to you by Ferguson and CVMSDC, also known as The Council. They say success is about writing your own destiny, and few embody that more than Tracey Tisdale-Richardson. As the owner of Lillie's of Charleston, she brings her A game daily, transforming a family legacy into a nationally recognized brand. With perseverance and a knack for turning no into yes, she has expanded her diverse product line nationwide, securing major wins like Costco distribution. Her journey is a testament to the resilience of family and making things happen. Tracey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you.
Yes, always good to see you because I know you always show up properly. Love your backdrop, really highlighting all of your products. Just really proud of the journey that you have taken.
Thank you. We couldn't have done it without CVMSDC, I have to tell you.
Well, I'm so glad. I remember the day you were at an annual meeting and I walked you over to a company. I'm not going to name the company. And now you've become a major supplier with that company. And you are their poster child for success because you were in the room, because you were ready when I walked you over. Look at what happened.
Yep. Dominique always getting us to the table.
I got to get you to the table. You got to be at the table to eat, folks. So Tracey, talk to folks about your journey. Like, why did you start this business? How did you start it? Just take us back to the beginning.
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur. And it's always about family, wanting to create generational wealth for our family, wanting to promote the products that my dad started in his restaurant in the mid 80s called the Rib Shack. And the recipes for a lot of the products you see behind my head came from his restaurant. So we make mustard-based barbecue sauces, hot sauces, seasoning mixes. And now, for Costco, we're going to be doing our popcorn called Gullah Pop, which we use our seasonings, they'll be in the Costco stores.
I love the diversification of your product line. You started out simple with a family recipe. This is important for our listeners. Go with what you know, right? So you use your knowledge base there. You took that recipe, you built it up, and then you went and you did wholesale as well as retail. Talk to us about the wholesale piece of it.
Right. Yeah, I think because Charleston's such a huge tourism industry and people come there, they're always looking for products that have like Charleston, and they're used to us having great flavor, great food. So we started with the marketplace and then quickly transitioned into wholesale for restaurants like food service, restaurants and hospitality. And then we went in slowly working with specialty stores before we tried to launch into, like big chain grocery stores.
So I love that. So when you go to a store like a US Foods, you can see the huge gallon bottles that you utilize to sell to restaurateurs to use in their products and school systems. And so that's the wholesale line. Then you have the retail line. People can buy your products online?
Yes, they can get it through Amazon. They can get it through our website, through Shopify. Like you say, US Foods or Cisco or like the wholesalers where they can get it for restaurateurs. But then also like small mom and pop specialty shops can get our products through Fair or call us and, make arrangements to get our products.
Okay, so folks, that's 3 different distribution channels, right? You have your wholesale, you have your retail, and then you have your online distribution. So kudos to you for that. Now, getting back to the diversification. So you started out with the hot sauce and then you expanded into spices. Now you've taken those spices and now you're going to put it on top of popcorn. So that is just a great formula for diversifying your businesses. So if one's going slow, the other can be going gangbusters and vice versa. The popcorn might slow down at a different time and then you have different avenues to go down with your products and you have a variety of different products. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. We got into popcorn by accident. And it's one of those things where you always got to listen to your customers. We were at a festival and we were sampling the popcorn. we're using the popcorn to sample the spices because we were trying to sell that. And people kept saying, "Oh, where can I buy this popcorn?" And we were like, nowhere. It's the spices you're supposed to be buying. And then after so many like festivals and people were asking us for the popcorn, we were like, okay, we need to be paying attention and we need to listen. And we obviously need to figure this out and figure out how we can do the popcorn. And that's the story of the popcorn.
Well, I love that you were listening, right? And I also, one thing that we didn't say we were going to talk about was your husband's role in this business. He has a technology background, right? So talk about how that played into being able to get the products on shelves.
Yeah, it's great because his background is in research and development chemistry. So he's the one who knew how to take Dad's recipes and figure out how to scale them up, how to make it, not a pinch of this or a teaspoon of this, but how to get it in volume and grams, which is what you have to do when you go to a co-packer. Because we don't manufacture it ourselves. We have co-packers that produce the products for us. And that's how we're able to get large scale volume so that we can get large scale distribution.
Well, you led me right into it because I want to talk about those co-packers. A lot of people, they start out in their kitchen and that's fine. That's where you got to start, right? But then when you get ready to talk to a major retailer, you have to have the ability for somebody to package your product and produce it at scale, right? And that has to happen not just on the East Coast, but you have to have mid-states, West Coast. You have to have your own supply chain for those products. So talk to us about how you found the co-packer and what all that means.
Yeah, that's a great introduction because, yes, if you want to expand your business, you can't be behind the wheel driving the car and then also getting out and dropping off the products and selling. You have to be able to have people to help you along the way. And that's kind of what a co-packer does. They're going to take your recipes, scale it up, and help you have large scale volume. And then, as you said, that's a key point, having co-packers in different locations so that you could get your product across the country. Because you'll find that shipping costs a lot of money. So if you have a co-packer that's halfway, like midpoint in the middle of the country, you can get both East, West, and the Midwest, right? So yeah, it's definitely helpful to have co-packers to do the packaging. And so you could concentrate on the sales and the expansion and the marketing and everything else.
That's good. So, I tell our business owners, being in control of your supply chain is critical, right? And so a lot of people miss that. And the other piece that people are fearful of, Tracey, is a lot of people say, I'm not giving my recipe to a co-packer. They'll steal my recipe and then they'll be making my product. What do you say to that?
Everybody has NDAs, so you could get a non-disclosure agreement. And what you don't realize is the big companies, they have co-packers too. They're not all manufacturing their own products either. They've got major co-packers that produce their products for themselves too. So that really should be a non-starter for most people because it's just a matter of finding the right relationship with your co-packer so that you could get, small scale volume to start or large scale volume as you grow.
And so how did you find the co-packer?
Oh, that's a good question. When we first started out, the guys that we were working with that were helping us with figuring out pricing and marketing, they had a small co-packing company and we started with them. And then from there, we did the research. You could, actually a lot of these companies you can Google, if you're doing baked goods, you can Google co-packers who do cookies. If you're doing sauces, you can Google co-packers who do sauces. And then the easiest way is also to ask other entrepreneurs, who's your co-packer? Who are you using? Do you like them? What do you recommend? And that's kind of the best way to try to find and, build a relationship with one.
Excellent. So what I heard is lock down your ingredients, lock down your product process, right? And then find a co-packer, sign that NDA, make sure that you have multiple co-packers in case one goes out or something happens, from a weather standpoint and you can't produce, but have them lined up and then be able to, you didn't say this, but be able to explain to the big box stores what your capacity is. So when you get ready to go to a big box store, I'm not going to name any, but when you get ready to go to a big box store, they're going to ask you, how many widgets can you produce daily, monthly, and where can you distribute it to? And you need to be able to answer that before they will take you on.
Right. That's very true.
And a lot of times they'll have you start with their online distribution just to test your products out. And then you go and then you can put yourself on the shelves. So are you excited about Costco coming on board?
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. They're one of my favorite stores to shop in. So it's going to be so exciting to walk into the store and see a display of our products there.
Excellent. We're so proud of Costco for standing behind DE&I. It's one of my favorite stores also before they even made their stance, but we're really proud of them standing behind DE&I. So Tracey, talk to us about it. It hasn't all been roses. You know, I watched you grow over these years. Talk to us about some of the pitfalls, some of the mistakes you may have made, so our viewers can understand.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things we did was we had been in business for quite a few years, and we did not get the trademark for our name. We have trademarks now for a lot of our, specialized products because we've got Gullah names, we've got unique names for each of the products. But unfortunately, a similar company, because this is the law, I guess, with patent companies, they will only allow a patent to one company who's making similar products with a similar name, and they don't do it to multiple. So we unfortunately didn't get the patent for our name. That's one of the things that, I think had hindsight, I would have done that from day one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a trademark on your name, a trademark is different than the patent. So a trademark on your name, maybe a patent on the process, but a trademark on your name is what you were looking for. Mm-hmm. Okay. So any other lessons that you've learned that you would share with our viewers, or things to do or things not to do when you're starting a business like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to start is the way most people start, is like small. Definitely start small. Everybody starts, like you said, in your garage, your kitchen, wherever you start making your products, and just do a testing ground. Because when you start selling to larger retailers, they want to know that people in your own state or your own backyard love your product and they're familiar with it before they want to expand you. So definitely start small. I think just making sure you have a banking relationship too. I think that's a very important relationship to build, because when you get ready to take that next step, you want to be able to work with a bank that says, oh, yes, you've been in here from day one. We're familiar with you. We feel confident that you're going to be a good customer. You're going to pay us back. And I think that's a key relationship to have.
Do you have a local bank or do you use a national bank?
We have both. We have more than one bank. So yeah, we started off with a local bank. They got bought out by another local bank. So we're still with them. But then we definitely have a working relationship with a national bank.
So I love the fact that you said you have multiple banks, because I have a lot of banks, right? It's got to not have all my money in one particular bank.
Right.
But I tell folks, you need to have your banker's number in your phone, just like you have your hairstylist's number in your phone. You have to have that relationship. And you need to use other people's money before you need it, right? So get that money in the bank so you have some cash flow. So when an opportunity comes up or you have to do a larger run than you thought, you're not having to run to the bank at that moment. You already have a cash flow in the bank. So you get a reserve of money in the bank based on that relationship and those loans that you can take. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So Tracey, tell me, and it's my favorite question, what's the difference between working on your business versus working in your business?
Oh, that's a good question. I think working on your business means that, that's like a 365 job, right? You're always, we're always at the table thinking about like, what's the next flavor of popcorn or what's the next sauce we're going to do? You're always kind of thinking about it and thinking future, like, what am I going to do next? Right? What is going on now? You're always concerned about that, but you're always thinking about what's coming up next. Versus, if you're working in your business, you have somebody else running it, and maybe you're just, a figurehead, or you're, doing the PR, or maybe you're the face of the business. But when you work on your business, it's constant.
It's kind of like the opposite. You're working on the business, so you're looking forward to business, right? Working in the business, you are doing the day to day.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So my favorite word is intentionality. And when I get ready to send out Christmas gifts, I call Tracey, and she sends out all my Christmas gifts. I don't know if that's a service that you offer for other folks, but I encourage people that when you're looking for products, to utilize for your company, you might use a national brand that's, I won't name it, but for you, is that something that you do for large companies? You can do Christmas gifts?
We haven't done it for large companies, but you're like our biggest fan, biggest supporter. We always, when you call, we're like, yes, we're ready to help you, Dominique, anything you need. But yes, it's something we can do for other companies. And other companies have approached us, smaller, like, marketing firms and things like that will use our products for gifts. But you're probably the largest one that does our Christmas. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I started that trend. I just always like folks to be thinking about multiple ways in which they can get their products out, right? And so I applaud you for having a diverse product line, for having multiple channels that you can work through, as well as having multiple co-packers. And so great lessons that you taught us today, Tracey. It has been a pleasure having you here with us today. And I look forward to seeing your growth in the next 5-10 years.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Dominique.
Yes, absolutely. So if you are interested in more information, please visit liliesofcharleston.com. That's liliesofcharleston.com and gullapop.com. Well, that concludes today's episode of Intentionality. Be sure to join me for our next episode. And remember that we must always, always remain intentional to gain knowledge, skills, and connections so we can grow and thrive in business together. I'm Dominique Simpson-Milton, and I will see you next time.
This has been another episode of Intentionality with Dominique, brought to you by the CVMSDC. For more information, please visit cvmsdc.org.